Yep, we are live. Good morning and welcome everyone to the Media Speaks Live Saturday morning news show. I'm DLAKE for Prez, David Lake, reporting for the MediaSpeaks.com. I'm joined this morning by Sam I.B. DeGanji, Sam of the Correct Views, and the band Passing Time, Samuel.
Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to the Saturday edition. I missed everyone last week.
Awesome, Sam. Great to have you back this week. We are also joined by our latest and newest and best, special, most awesome co-reporter, Annmarie. Annmarie, how you doing?
Hi, great to be here. Good.
Awesome, great. So I have really awesome. There's breaking news right now. I was trying to go to the live stream, but the video has been interrupted. I do have some clips of it here. What's going on right now in Arizona? There's a Trump event scheduled for starting right about now, 11. And earlier, traffic was being stopped by protesters blocking people from, they shut down a highway headed to the Donald J. Trump event in Arizona. Let's take a look at this.
Donald Trump event ahead of Tuesday's Republican primary in Arizona, and a number of protesters have shut down the highway en route to the event. Earlier, we saw a number of cars parked sideways on the highway.
And I was kind of like, can't we just drive through them? Like, if we go, I mean, Sam, if we go 5 miles per hour and just gently proceed, Annmarie, won't everyone just sort of sprawl and get out of the way? No one wants to get hit by a car. Annmarie, do you want to get hit by, does anyone want to get hit by a car? Is the question.
No.
All right, Sam, so this is all happening ahead of a rally that Trump is having in Arizona, and of course we have to make all his rallies now look like big potential threats and dangers, and riots might happen. I'm sure you saw that this week. Sam, you were at Donald J. Trump's event in where? Cincinnati, Ohio last week ahead of the voting that happened on Tuesday. Talk about what was going on at that rally, and also maybe some of your feelings about Kasich winning Ohio, his one big win. Now he's still in the race, and we'll get to that part. But tell us about what went down at that Trump event. You talked to some interesting people, and why don't you get into that? Go ahead.
Thank you. I went to the one in Cleveland, actually, and
Cleveland.
I was amazed by not only the dedication, but the lack of intelligence in some of the protesters. I was able to conduct a peaceful interview with a Black Lives Matter protester, the gentleman and everyone else. But I mean, they have talking points that have no basis in reality. The fact that he wants to make sure illegal immigration is so down is not racist. But it's tantamount to racism if you don't know it, if you don't follow everything. If you're somebody that tunes in, here's what you want to hear because it makes you feel better or gives you your victory class status, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to latch onto it and blame everything else for everything. But I think it's more important to realize the number of people that were there. 29,000 people were at this rally. And you've got a handful of protesting, obviously. But when you engage them, particularly the white gentleman, I believe his name is Phil, nothing but talking points and no truth whatsoever. The African-American gentleman, Fred, he was polite, but as soon as I asked him about anything that didn't have to do with immigration towards the very end of the interview, he didn't know any of the policies, any of the topics.
Yeah, Annmarie and I watched some of that last week on the show and played a little bit of that, and I'm on your page at YouTube /The Correct Views where people can watch that for themselves. But Sam, it sounds like you're broadcasting from outer space. What is going on with your sound there? Is that you?
My computer here?
I don't know, it's like, it sounds like you're like on another planet. try to mute your microphone for a second and let's give Annmarie the floor and see who's. Oh no, okay. I think that might be coming from your thing, Ann.
Is it coming from mine?
Is there like the fan on, or like are you near a highway or something?
No.
Okay.
It's my computer. I could get a different one. I could go on a different one if it's loud.
That's a little bit better. And we watched some of those protests on Sam's channel. And how did you feel about it, man?
Oh.
When Sam was talking to that one gentleman there at the rally, he was a protester.
Right. I just think that I could definitely see their point. I mean, these protesters are really upset. I mean, obviously that man that he was talking to that we watched that clip of is African American, and you know, Trump has said things that sometimes upset a lot of people, like say Black Lives Matter. I've heard people say, well, all lives matter, not just Black lives, all lives matter. But the thing is, Black Lives Matter has come out because it's an urgency for that one particular group, Black lives. It's because there's an urgency. Those people, those Black Americans, are the whole group came about because police were shooting unarmed Black people. So that's like saying save the rainforest. Well, why don't we save all forests? Well, I'm not saying cut down any other forests, but there's an urgency.
Rainforests matter, but no, all forests matter.
A lot of it, they were sticking up for Michael Brown. Michael Brown was charging a police officer when he shot him. And I think that's, I mean, they won't even listen to the fact that he said that. But he was unarmed, but he was charging a police officer.
Well, I think there's been a lot of instances that, in this country in the last even few months, I mean, where police are targeting people. We know that there's racial profiling obviously going on in this country right now, and and even Arizona. I mean, it's everywhere. In the Florida stand your ground laws, I mean, they're targeting people, and it's horrible. That's why this Black Lives Matter came up. It's an urgency for that specific group, Black people who are getting targeted by the police, and they're dying. So it's not that I'm not saying all lives matter, but it's like that's a stupid argument. It's a BS argument. It's basically this is an urgent need for that specific group. So when these people come out to the Trump rally and they're saying this, that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, hey, like recognize that this is a problem for Black people. And this has always been a problem. I mean, civil rights and racism is still going on today. And it's just a horrible thing. So, I mean, I do believe in Black Lives Matter, that it's an important thing. And people are, listen, there's a lot of things going. Oh, sorry, Sam, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear me better, or is this computer still terrible?
I can hear you, but I can hear you, but I don't know, the connection might be a little skippy, a little bad. You sound a little robotic. I don't know if you want to try the other machine, or maybe there's another machine too close to that one or something. Sandy, can we hear from you? Whose microphone sounds, I don't know. Just send all you guys microphones. I feel like I'm the only one that's able to broadcast here.
The Black Lives Matter movement is that institutionalized in the United States. I don't think that most whites are concerned about the color of someone's skin the way that they think they are. I think what people hate is culture. And by that I mean, as a DJ, we encourage the Black people to come to the club. However, we do end up with a small number of Black people coming in, wanting to take the club over, usually going out of their way to almost start trouble. I work in an adult club. As soon as they come in, and the 90% of the Black people that don't act that way stop coming due to the 10% that does. And I think when it hits the media, I think a lot of Black people think that they were targeted because of the color of their skin. and they're not. But when you get this hip hop culture in there that's all about thuggery and all about I'm going to get mine at the expense of everyone else, that concerns
Okay.
that concerns me when that happens because it brings in a very
Well, it
negative.
concerns me when you bring up the hip hop music, Sam, but I
No,
recognize that that does have an influence.
no, it's called hip hop culture. What I mean is not spray painting abandoned buildings and smoking weed on the weekends. Who doesn't love to do that? I mean the mentality of I'm going to get mine at the expense of everybody else, and you'll find that prevalent among a very small number of black people. But I think the media wants us fighting. The media wants us at each other's throats. So that's how they portray black people. And they do it to white people too. When I was at the Trump rally, there were a number of white people there. Out of again 29,000, my guess is there were about, I don't know, 200 or 300 people that were absolute pieces of white human filth. I wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire, and I wouldn't like to have a beer in a pub with them. They don't seem like good people, and that is exactly who the media latches on to. The media didn't go out of their way to look at the
Oh yeah.
average Joe black man that was at that event. They didn't talk to the average white person with their kids who stand in there watching Trump speak. The media is creating this firestorm by picking the worst of both sides.
Okay, now it looks like we got Ann on a split screen here, or double screen. You know, it's been a while since we've had three people, and it's been a while since we've had three people, so I'm adjusting the cameraman settings. I forgot to do that earlier. I think it's much better. Annmarie, go ahead. Unmute.
Okay, now I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Annmarie, can you hear me? Now you can't hear me. Oh, okay. So now you have an issue with your speakers. You can't hear me? Can you hear me? I'm speaking sign language to you. I heart. That's the only sign language I know. Sam, can we hear from you?
Yes. I guess in closing to finish what I'm saying is they're using the worst of the worst. The people that
I
are.
can't hear anybody. I'm going to have to reload this.
All right.
I think I'm most.
All right, we can hear you, but you can't hear us. Sam, I'm fucking up the whole show here.
Well, what do you got? Like, why don't you take? You're the only one who has the talk here. Let's see if you get sabotaged.
All right, great. Well, I was closing a bunch of links earlier because I thought maybe it was all the websites I had open that was fucking messing stuff up. Report Kasich trying to spoil Utah for Ted Cruz. AP reporter Nick Riccardi says Kasich is making a Utah swing that might deny Cruz the 50% he needs to win all the delegates. So basically a bunch of people are commenting about why is he still in the race. He only won one state, his home state. You're the state that you live in, Sam, Ohio, so you might have something to say about this. And I had another report about Kasich receiving $700,000 from George Soros. And, is that treasonous or whatever? So, Sam, I'd like for you to answer this question. Is Kasich, John Kasich, the governor from Ohio who is still in the Republican race for the presidential nomination in 2016 on the Republican side, is Kasich in the tank for Trump or trying to deny Trump delegates? Okay, I guess that's the only question. So your answers are he's in the tank. B, he's trying to deny Trump delegates and ultimately the nomination. C, I have no idea. Or D, Kasich is really super Mexican. How would you like to vote, Sam?
I don't even know what it is that they're implying. He's trying to win.
He's just trying to win, right? But he doesn't really have a mathematical path towards that win. So by him staying in, does it act as a spoiler? Does it give votes to Trump? Does it take away votes from Cruz? I mean, that's what Cruz and Trump are talking about. People are like, oh, they've been so congenial, and Trump and Kasich worked out a deal. Dude, go watch the videos of Trump the day before Ohio. He was slaughtering Kasich with the crap that he was saying.
My trouble,
Man, can we hear you?
my trouble with Kasich is mostly that he is in favor of NAFTA. If you are in favor of NAFTA, you lose Sam's vote in almost every.
Okay, well, this is a big issue with Ann. Please, Ann, can you hear us, and can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Are you hearing what we're talking about? Because we're talking about NAFTA right now.
Okay.
That,
What do you?
so you're not
Okay.
able to hear. Wait, you can obviously hear me if you're answering what I'm saying.
Yes. I know. I was switching the computer. I have a computer on the floor. I've been. Okay. Go ahead. I'm doing. You know what I'm doing too while I'm talking to you. I'm trying to do all these like things for my son's school too. While I'm. Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
No, it looks like you
Go
have
ahead.
paperwork and stuff. I mean, Sam just brought up NAFTA. You brought up NAFTA last week. It's something that I've been looking into. Killing NAFTA could mean big hit to United States firms and consumers, according to this article on the Chicago Tribune. Donald Trump has pledged to renegotiate or terminate NAFTA, saying that it's been a disaster for the United States. We're talking about the North American Free Trade Agreement, ladies and gentlemen, and the billionaire frontrunner for the Republican nomination isn't the first presidential candidate to bash the deal. Since its inception, everyone remember Ross Perot warned of a giant sucking sound pulling jobs to Mexico. NAFTA has been a popular punching bag for politicians. Despite the idea's popularity, pulling out of NAFTA could have all sorts of unintended consequences for United States businesses and the economy. And if you just want to address NAFTA, tell people what you know about it, and do you think that, I mean, if we cancel it, does it need to be reworked, canceled, terminated? And how do you agree with or disagree with politicians bringing it up in their like stump speeches in their campaigns?
Oh, yeah, you talked about this last time. It's basically what I was saying was it's basically like BS because before NAFTA was even introduced, like when we were kids, this was going on. We were losing jobs to Mexico. And right now in the news, everybody, and at these debates, everybody, Bernie Sanders, Hillary, on both sides, Trump, talking about this. They're talking about not just NAFTA, but they're talking about TPP, which is going to involve, like, you know, China and this and that. And I was saying that this basically won't have any effect because it's all about corporations. Corporations want to make money, and they only care about making profits. And when you go overseas, these businesses pay their workers pennies. I mean, absolute pennies. We looked it up. We looked up Bratz dolls, and that I know that's China and not Mexico, but it's the same deal. They pay pennies, and people in our country are not going to work for pennies.
Was that Sam? Whoa. Get a bunch of big echo. Sam, can we hear from you?
Yeah, I agree with her in every way. NAFTA is the worst possible thing for our country that I can imagine. It's one of the few one-issue things that can actually lose me as a vote. Right up there with choosing Chris Christie as your running mate. No, you don't get my vote if you do that. I think it's been one of the most profound disasters in the entire history of the United States. It has been nothing but a detriment to the employees and has helped out a very small number of people at the expense of millions.
Okay, Sam, that was pretty funny. I don't think that Trump is going to pick Chris Christie as his running mate, if that's what you were implying. It's fine to have him endorse him for a while, just like it's fine to have Sarah Palin endorse you for a while. And then Glenn Beck is like, he questions why Sarah Palin's not on the campaign trail with Donald Trump every single place that he goes, like he is with Ted Cruz. And Glenn Beck, who seems like he's running for president, just said the other day that if we don't vote for Ted Cruz, they're going to be be on our hands, Annmarie. How do you feel about it? The blood will be on your hands if you don't vote for Ted Cruz.
Oh, please. I don't like Ted Cruz at all. Ted Cruz is
Can I ask you a serious question, Annmarie?
Yes.
What is exactly wrong with Ted Cruz's face? Sam, did you have any ideas on that, or Annmarie, or no? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He looks like a cross
That
between
wasn't a serious question.
Python character and Bill Murray.
He's what? He's a bastard child of Bill Murray and who?
He looks like a cross between a Monty Python character and Bill Murray.
And Grandpa Munster, maybe.
Well, they said that. Did you see on someone posted on Facebook the other day that he was the lead singer of Stryper? Did you see they did a comparison of him and the lead singer of Stryper?
Oh, that's
He looks like him.
I saw one where they
Zodiac Killer.
I saw one where they did it with Vladimir Putin and Dave Mustaine.
Oh, well, there's something about his face that is controversial. I don't know what it is. Someone says he doesn't smile right. Like, he doesn't smile upward, he smiles downward, and a Dufresne doesn't have a Dufresne smile or something like that, or what's this face? Canada. Canada. Fuck you, Canada. Oh, no, that's not the FU finger. But he always wears that class ring, and there could be something wrong with his face. What is this? Underneath his... He doesn't have a tattoo. This is not real. Ted Cruz doesn't have a tattoo. Oh, April Fool's. Okay. Okay, well, April Fool's is coming up. I don't think Ted Cruz really has a tattoo, but I think that he might have something wrong with his face. All right, Annmarie, sorry I went off on that sidetrack. So you're not really in support of Ted Cruz, but what about Glenn Beck? I mean, you're supposed to be fasting for Cruz. You're supposed to be posting every day, like my friend Candace on Facebook, about how great Ted Cruz is and how he's still going to win. He needs 87% of the votes at this point if he's going to achieve the delegate math. I mean, Trump is on a more clear path to getting the delegate math. I mean, there's been a lot of talk this past week about a contested convention in the Republican Party. And how do you guys feel? Do you think that that's going to happen? Sam?
I agree with Rick Scott of Florida. If you contest this convention and you don't give the people, you've lost. The only way to beat Hillary Clinton at this point is Donald Trump. There is no other path.
Wait, according to one Real Clear Politics poll, Kasich beats Hillary, but Trump can't, and so we should all vote for Kasich.
I don't.
Mitt Romney last week supported Kasich in Ohio, but this week he's supporting
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz in Utah. So I put out a hashtag this morning about Mitt Romney, hashtag endorsement, not endorsement. He's not endorsing, he's just supporting and telling you what he thinks is a good idea.
Which of course lost when he had the chance to show those good ideas.
I like Ted Cruz's face. Go ahead, Sam.
I think if they take him away from us, I won't vote for a GOP ticket that doesn't have him on it, unless one of the three people I like were to come in, which it won't happen. So if they do that, I'll immediately vote Libertarian. I'll give it to Hillary if I have to. I won't.
Who do you want to see come in? Gary Johnson? Who would you like to see come in? Those three people.
Napolitano, Justin Amash, or Walter E. Williams.
Yeah, you're a big fan of Walter E. Williams.
Big time. I probably would like him to be president more than anyone else I could think of.
But he's black, Sam.
He's very black.
How dare you, racist? How dare you support a black man?
I also think that I've been saying all along, I look for Donald Trump to pick Herman Cain as a running mate to put this racist BS to bed.
Oh man, yeah, I was watching a video earlier. Oh,
I've been saying it, and lo and behold, Ben, Ben, Ben. You've been hearing Ben all the time. I predicted it months ago.
Yeah, but
Ben
see,
Carson.
I don't
Good.
like agree with that because that doesn't mean you're not a racist. I mean, look at Strom Thurmond. I mean, he was like he passed such horrible, horrible civil rights. He didn't want to pass any civil rights laws. I mean, he blocked everything, and yet years later, I mean, it came out that he had an African American daughter. He had an affair with an African American woman, and he was like the worst thing possible for black rights. And yet he hid this daughter, and she was like really respectful of him. I would have come out with like blaring, like, "Hey, I'm Strom Thurmond's daughter," and to kick him out. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be like he's not a racist. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump is a racist, but I'm just saying that if you look at history, like there are people who do say, oh, I mean, they do horrible things. I mean, look at Strom Thurmond. That's the total opposite. We were talking about this even about Republicans. A lot of Republicans who are like so anti-gay and this and that, they're like the first ones that you find out are like really gay and have like a different life, than
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
All the ones against guns are the gun runners. All the ones against drugs are the drug sniffers, and all the ones against child pornography are the pedophiles.
It seems.
Not Walter
I mean,
White.
and but I'm just saying that you can't just say, well, because Ben Carson is, might be in his, an advisor to Trump that he's not going to be a racist because, I mean,
him as VP. I think he's going to take the big bite and pick him as VP.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that he sees. He's even said he sees Carson in more of a, if not in medicine or healthcare, possibly most best fitted in education.
See, like not Carson, Kane. I'm predicting he picks Kane.
Herman Cain.
Yes.
Yeah, and what I was saying is I was watching a video earlier of Herman Cain on Megyn. I was watching Herman Cain on Megyn Kelly, just starting to destroy the guy that set up the Chicago protests and another guy. It was like, yeah, I was watching that earlier.
Did I say Carson? I meant Herman Cain. I'm sorry.
Well, I think we got sidetracked. I mean. But you're talking about Herman Cain. There he is.
Okay, that was my fault. Ben Carson, it doesn't have the experience. Trump has already said he wants somebody who has a little bit of experience. That's why I'm suspecting Cain.
And if Herman Cain comes back into the fold, will we hear any more about 999 or Godfather's Pizza?
I hope not 9. Anything but 9.
999. I'm Herman Cain.
But I was listening to his radio show a while ago, and I really do believe that that's the direction that Trump's going to go in. And it would make sense because he's established, he knows what he's doing. If nothing else, will limit the racist lie at least, because even though you can do a Strom Thurmond, I think that Cain is really, really established. Like it's time for him to break out if he's going. And this would be one way for that to happen. It'll be interesting to see if I'm right. That's who I've been thinking he's going to pick.
All right, do you guys want to watch Herman Cain destroys Donald Trump protesters, Sam?
I love this. Yes, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch.
Chicago, and we are seeing a much smaller group of protesters at Donald Trump's event as he gets ready to address supporters in Salt Lake City, Utah tonight, ahead of that state's Tuesday caucuses.
Was when he first announced he was running for president, saying that Hispanic.
Okay, this is Jamal Green, who helped lead the anti-Trump protests that happened in Chicago, the disruption that Trump canceled.
Are bringing in rapists and killers and drug dealers. That is what we do not like. We do not like people that is going to say, "Oh, women are call women fat slobs." He even called you a bimbo on Twitter last year.
That was a retweet.
You know, this is a man that it disrespects everyone. He disrespects presidential candidates.
Your mama.
He called Marco Rubio Little Marco.
He makes fun of your sweater with the big A and the weird white stripes.
Ted Cruz, Lion Ted. He called Senator
because he lies.
Sanders a liar. And, you know, he just
and a communist.
The type of character he is just not great. It's not great, and we will not stand for it in Chicago.
Your thoughts on that point, right? And then we'll get to the propriety of shutting down a rally. But your thoughts on Jamal's last point there.
Jamal and Mr. Vargas, your previous guest, are part of the political noise machine. They picked on the soundbite that some people are trying to project as the perception of Donald Trump, and it's totally inaccurate and unfair.
And I just want to say one last thing. 999.
So he's going off on a statement here and an isolated statement here. And when he says he offended all Mexicans or illegals, no, he said the bad people. He is not a racist. And in case Mr. Jamal and Mr. Vargas haven't looked up the definition, go look up the definition. Donald Trump does not satisfy the definition of a racist or any of these other things that they're putting out there.
I would like to firmly 100% agree with Mr. Herman Cain. Thank you. Sam, what do you think?
That would be an excellent choice for vice president in the climate that we have today. And not even to pull the negativity away from Mr. Trump. I didn't like Cain the way I liked Ron Paul, so I didn't support him. But he didn't annoy me when he was running. I think this would be a way for Trump to prove that he is a unifier. The minorities.
Herman Cain, as I remember, dropped out kind of suddenly and prematurely amid some sort of sex scandal, as I remember it.
Yeah, he doinked somebody and it ruined him. But
he slept with his secretary and that caused a bunch of problems. I mean, Ann, how do you feel about that? I mean, you slept with your secretary one time. Is that disqualify you to be presidential nominee?
No, but I don't know how qualified he is. I mean, I'm not excited about it. I just think, I mean, it's like when Sarah Palin was chosen. You know, it's like I think she was just chosen as the token woman. You know, because
I mean, any VP pick is sort of a token in a way. I mean, who could he pick? Who could the Republican nominee, whether it's Trump or Cruz or Mitt Romney, sweeps in on a white horse and selects Paul Ryan again as his vice presidential nominee? But I mean, let's just say, for argument's sake, it's Trump. Who would you like to see him select as a vice presidential nominee if it was up to you, Ann? Maybe not this in particular, but the qualifications that you'd be looking for.
Well, I think let's just use examples like George Sr., right? The first, Senior Bush. He was already like the head of the CIA. He's really smart, and he picked like a dummy, Dan Quayle, to be his VP. He didn't need anyone established. He didn't want anyone. He just wanted like someone to go away. But for his son, George, W. He basically had to pick a VP that had more experience. He couldn't pick like a Dan Quayle. He needed somebody who was more established. They surrounded him with people because think about it. He was like a 40-year-old. He had like DUIs. He's like, he's not his father. His father is experienced, and so they surrounded him with politicians that are like knowledgeable and have played the field like on purpose.
You're not exactly coming out and right like saying Dick Cheney is who you're talking about. Someone that was in like Bush Senior's administration and stuff, and like, yeah, he surrounded himself with politicians that were his daddy's buddies and stuff, and like kind of did what his dad said in a way.
Palin was a governor though, and she turned a profit in Alaska, which is not an easy thing to do, and she didn't just.
Well, Sarah Palin, yeah.
No,
but
Sarah Palin
that's coming off of what she was saying, but that was.
Yeah, but she didn't even finish the job. She quit. I mean, she didn't even finish. I mean, she ran for VP and she went back there and she quit. I mean, and she was a former like sportscaster. I mean, come on, she wasn't really that qualified. They picked her because she was a woman. But I mean, and no one heard of her. She
She
didn't
was
have
a
any
governor.
skeleton. I mean, she
She was
was
a
a
governor to
governor,
her credit. Yeah, at the time.
but she went back and afterwards and she quit. I just think that, and then she had a reality show. I was like, ugh, I don't like Sarah Palin. I mean, I'll put that out there. I don't really care for her. I don't think she's really that bright. I mean, she's okay, but what I'm saying is, if Trump is, I do think Trump is bright, but I think he would have to do what George Jr. did, basically get some people, and this is probably why his brother Jeb didn't do so well. He didn't have a lot of people. His father's people were all either dead or too old to come out. I mean, it was pathetic when he had his mother come out to New Hampshire. I mean, he just didn't have all those connections anymore, like Jeb, and everyone thought that he was going to be like this big huge thing, like everyone's going to be supporting him, that it was going to be him. So what I'm saying is Trump would need somebody established. He would need some people in his cabinet. He would need people who are politicians, career.
When you say established, because I think the same thing, but what sounds better to you? Because first of all, I don't think it's going to be anyone that he's been running against, including Cruz, Kasich, Carson. I don't think it's going to be anyone he's been running against. But I think it's going to come either from a governor or possibly somebody in Congress, a senator or a representative. And how would you feel about that?
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, none of them on the stage. I mean, think about it. Like Rubio, not much. I mean, come on. Like, there's not much there.
So none of them,
and then
let's exclude them.
They hate him.
They hate who?
Ted Cruz. He's hated. I mean, his own people hate him.
His own people. And
his own people.
And Lindsey Graham, who was running for president but got knocked out early, and then he supported Jeb Bush, and then Jeb Bush dropped out, and now Lindsey Graham says he supports Ted Cruz, and then I just read a list of 10 horrible things that Ted Cruz said, that Lindsey Graham said about Ted Cruz before he endorses him, and it said that if Ted Cruz was murdered in the Senate, no one in the Senate would care or try to convict or anything. The killer would just go free. And like, I mean,
that's true.
I don't know what it's like in your workplace environment where you work. I mean, I feel really friendly and no one is trying to kill me where I work. But Ted Cruz, I don't know if people can say the same thing.
Yeah, they hate him.
And the number one biggest reason is his face. But anyways, we already talked about that. Sam, how do you feel?
I think the Cruz, when he was arm in arm with Paul a year and a half ago, I really liked him. The more he speaks, the less I trust him, and the more I'm concerned about him.
The more Glenn Beck speaks for him, the more concerned I am. But go ahead, Sam.
If he had simply not taken the banker ties, I would not have jumped off the Cruz bandwagon. That was when I left. I'm not even sure if I can quickly find the show here that I was like, forget this. It was when he took that last huge amount of money from the banks that I just completely, it was 114.16 was when I went from thinking he might be okay, so I wasn't supporting him, to somebody who I didn't think was going to be okay. Largely,
Can you expand upon that in January? What happened? What are you talking about?
it was just another wave of banker donations that came in. And I'm tired of the banking establishment picking the president. And there are a lot of things that Cruz has said that I like. I really like it. I don't trust him. I trust Donald Trump. I don't trust Ted Cruz.
When you were at Donald Trump's rally last week in Ohio, Sam, how much signage, how much support, how much rallying did you see for Ted Cruz? Any?
Well, there wouldn't have been there, but no, not at all. Everybody seems, well, not everybody, but a lot of people there seem to think the same way I am. No Trump, no vote. And I've been saying it nonstop. If they take Trump away from us, I won't vote GOP. I will go back to my usual libertarian home.
Ohio, not exactly Ted Cruz country. What about where you're at? You're in like West Virginia or something, right, Ann?
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
are you seeing when you're, going about your way? I mean, are you seeing signage? Are you seeing bumper stickers? Are you seeing like any, or you just in your internet? I mean, where are you seeing the momentum going?
oh, I think it's probably mostly Republican. I mean, like the only thing that's been in the news around here is that they had this right to work vote, and basically like
Like
the
a state
Democrat,
position?
it was like it's like ridiculous. Like it's like a whole big thing. We could do it in another show, but I can get into it and research more. But basically it's mostly Republican now. It's mostly Republican now. So I don't know. There's a lot of students here too at the university. There's a university right here in Morgantown, West Virginia. So maybe the students would be. Oh, sorry, something just popped up on my computer. Okay.
Are there a bunch
Um,
of Bernie supporters at the college? You said it's
um,
mostly Republican in your area, it seems like, but I mean, is that Republican swing? I mean, do you see Trump signs or anything like that? Do you try to run him over with your car? That happened this week. Some guy videotaped himself running over a Trump sign with a car and then got arrested or something.
yeah, this. Oh, I'm getting feedback. Um, Sorry about that. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Hey, but that just made me think of a question, though. Sam, you went to Trump's rally last week, right? Weren't you scared to go? Weren't you petrified that there would be violence and riots and you'd have to protect yourself and try to protect your woman and all that stuff? Sam?
No, I mean, I'm not like an expert.
You didn't fear for your life, Sam?
I took martial arts for a year and a half and have thankfully never had to use it. Um, I'm pretty much, I don't let that kind of thing worry me. I went to New York in October after 9/11 happened. Within a month, I was there. I don't really let the idiots of the world win. I think that's the worst thing you can do. But to go back to an earlier point, though, and Christelle felt the same way. To go back to an earlier point, I'm not. Here's what's strange to me. In Ohio, you can look this up. Within a week or less of the vote, Gary Johnson was polling at almost 10% in Ohio. He ended up with 1%. Now, barring a sex scandal or something like that, how do you lose 9% or 10 percentage points in a week? I don't understand how that happens. I don't understand how nobody asked about it. That's almost 11% according to that. 11% according to that one. And I mentioned it, and nobody. It didn't get any traction. Nobody paid any attention to me at all because Gary Johnson was never going to win. Problem is, if he had hit 5%, he would have then gotten federal matching funds during this election cycle, and that would have mattered for the Libertarian Party. It would matter a lot considering how unpopular among some people all the candidates are right now. And yet it didn't happen. It didn't happen largely because it makes you wonder, where is this falling away occurring? And I mention it in this cycle because I don't know any Hillary supporters. When I go to the Arts District in Canton, all I hear is Sanders, 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 Sanders. Sanders. Everywhere you go, Bernie Sanders. When I see anybody voting on the other side, it is always. The only time I ever heard anybody mention anybody else was a gentleman in front of me at the Trump rally said he was originally Ben Carson. Nobody's voting for Cruz. Nobody's voting for Kasich. Damn sure nobody's. I don't even know a Hillary supporter, and yet I'm getting a really bad sense that things aren't adding up here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did you see?
Sanders is the most popular Democrat in Ohio.
Well, I just went to the article that you were talking about. Poll shows Gary Johnson at 10.6 in Ohio. Is that for real? Question mark. Well, I think that the Libertarians, due to money and media exposure, kind of have to wait till the last minute before. I mean, I don't know. They select their nominee in the summertime, same as Republicans and Democrats, and they hope to get on the big stage, but like they haven't been campaigning on TV and stuff for a year like the other candidates have, and in the press and in the media and stuff. So it's kind of harder for them to get that going. I know that Gary Johnson, McAfee, and some other guy that I never heard of are all three up for the uh, nomination for the Libertarians, and I think that one of the media channels is actually talking about having a debate broadcast live. I think that only benefits Gary Johnson, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, that, and I mean, I worry about McAfee because he seems like a good guy. But do you remember when you
I
put?
think he should go bury himself in the sand again after he kills another one of his neighbors, but maybe that's just my opinion.
What did he do? Tell me that out there. You remember when you used to put McAfee on your computer and you probably got a virus? The damn thing never worked.
Yeah, I think I still have it. My computer's infected.
May have been first, but I'm sorry it didn't work. But what were you saying about him vanishing into the sand? I missed something.
Oh, and when John McAfee was accused of murdering one of his neighbors, and then when they came looking for him, he went out on the beach and just buried himself under the sand.
I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know. Go look it up. But great show so far, guys. We're going kind of long here. Sam, you had some science news. What's up with that?
Yes, I do. I've got two of them. The first one's just very, very quick. Julie Fiddler research highlights key benefits of choosing organic meat and milk. And if you're not interested, don't worry, we're going to space next. But it talks about a new study analyzing data on milk and meat found that organic varieties contain 50% more omega-3s than non-organics. That is a huge amount of positive intake for your body there. You can. I don't eat all organic at all, actually, but I do take omega-3s on a regular basis every day. And but it also said organic meat had lower levels of stearic and polemic acid. It contained higher levels of fat-soluble vitamins, including E and carotenoids. And E can. Some people don't like to take E, so that's the way around that. 40% more conjugated lactic acid and lower omega-6, omega-3 ratios. Basically, those people telling you that there's no difference between organic and non-organic, absolutely hosing you. You're going to want to check that article out. And then, I know, DLAKE, what everybody waits for when I do news from the science front. They don't want to hear about how healthy their meat is. That's independent.co.uk. I can't always give you the interesting stuff. Sometimes I got to give you the important, boring stuff, but this isn't it. Fast radio bursts. Scientists hear huge, mysterious repeating signal from deep in space. Scientists, instead of heard of, I hate when they do that. They found a 10 millisecond long fast radio burst, the latest example of mysterious radio wave coming from outside of the galaxy. Scientists had previously thought that the bursts were singular events, but the new study finds that at least some of the sources send out repeated messages. The finding adds another strange discoveries about the fast radio bursts seem to indicate, it says, that there may be something unusual causing them. Scientists said last year that some of the messages appear to be coming in a pattern, one that could even be created by an alien technology. Again, we're saying might here. We don't have definitive proof of anything. I know there's going to be people perhaps on the comment line asking about whether this could be fake. The government wants you to believe in aliens when they're not there. I wouldn't be surprised. As it stands, it seems like an honest enough study, though. The new research sheds little light on what exactly is causing the messages, though. No new light at all here, Felix. It does offer perplexing questions about what the sort of source could be emitting them. It says we're showing that whatever battery drives FRBs, it can recharge in minutes, said James Cords, an astronomy professor at Cornell University. The energy of the event becomes problematic. We're detecting these FRBs from very far away, which means that they are intrinsically very bright. Only a few astrophysical sources can produce bursts like this, and we think that most likely a neutron star from another galaxy. Now, my problem with this, D-Lake, is if you can see the signal, you can locate the star. That has almost always been the case throughout the time I've been studying this. So
Okay.
what you just said seems to me like a bit of a cover-up that falls between the radar and no one's really going to catch it. That sentence, D-Lake, doesn't make any sense. Let me say it again. Only a few astrophysical sources can produce bursts like this, and we think that they are most likely neutron stars in other galaxies. Those are the large glowing flipping, it looks like they're flipping stars. You can find those if you have the signal. So that right there, to reiterate, to me seems like a major cover-up of some kind, if there is a cover-up in this story, and I'm not saying there is. It might just be a scientist who's hell-bent on not believing in other forms of life and trying to grasp at any straw he can get here. Previously, it says scientists have thought that the message was coming from something like the collision of neutron stars, sending a shock wave of energy across the universe. But the new findings show that the source of the energy isn't being destroyed, since they send out more than one burst. So, I mean, it's something interesting here. He says in our paper, we're showing that the FRB can't have an explosive origin. This is from Shemi Chatterjee, a senior researcher at Cornell, in the statement. She said, so either there's an odd coincidence, or maybe there are different types of FRBs. Either way, it seems we've broken the enigmatic phenomenon wide open. So at this point, either it's coming from something, a phenomenon in space that we know nothing of, it's coming from a neutron star that we can get a signal from but can't find, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever at all, or it's alien. And those seem to be the only.
When aliens hear our radio bursts of like, they sent out the old Hitler Olympic videotape.
Of course. Well, anything that's not Drake will probably be received well.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like the aliens only pick up like 99.3 FM. Like they only have your local like your local rap and hip hop, soul and R&B station, and that's what they're really into. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Well, they're gonna think that they're gonna think the entire English language consists of about 20 words if they do that. But otherwise, they'll be fine.
I don't know what you guys can pick up on this microphone, but there's a helicopter circling outside my place right now that's talking about, we're on the lookout for so-and-so. Yeah. Now it sounds like there's two helicopters.
On DLAKE, Annmarie.
And let's get Anne-Marie's thoughts about these radio bursts in outer space. What do you think, Anne?
Well, I mean, here in West Virginia, we have a gigantic satellite. I forgot the town, but basically the people who live in this town aren't allowed to have any internet or anything. I think it begins with the letter G if you Google it. But anyway, I don't know. It could be alien. I believe that there's other life. If we exist, there has to be. I believe that there exists like other life forms. I mean, even if they're microscopic. I mean, anything. I mean. If I even believe in intelligent life, I believe, I mean, it's so massive, the universe. There's got to be somebody out there. So maybe it is coming from something alien-made. Who knows?
That would go a really long way in describing where Hillary Clinton came from.
Okay, sorry guys, I have breaking news. It sounds like the helicopter of the La Mesa police are on the lookout for a white male with an orange sweater running on foot And so everyone in my local area, please be on the lookout. I don't know, there's a dangerous, violent criminal. And the cats are in heat. Okay, it's coming back. The helicopter's coming back. I don't know if you guys can pick this up, but it's happening in the background here.
Take your computer outside and film the sky.
Sam, I have like a desktop computer. I don't have the pick it up and move it around thing. I got a big giant tower here. Oh, and a blackmail somewhat. Wait. Oh, jeez. It's right above my place. It's right above my place, and they were last seen on foot in the area. I'm getting pretty worried here, guys.
Just admit it. You're hiding a fugitive, aren't you? We understand.
They're like, we're on the lookout for a guy with big beard broadcasting live on the Media Speaks as we speak. I'm like, shit. How do you feel about all that science news, Ann?
Oh, I was saying that it's interesting. It's, you know, I believe in alien life or even microscopic biology, I can't talk,
Yeah,
life somewhere else. I mean,
it could be the size of, like, smaller than an ant, but it's still alien life, right?
right, exactly. And if we believe that it possibly there's other intelligent beings out there, so, you know, it's possible.
What did you have in entertainment?
Me or her?
Sam, what do you got? Well, if it's an obituary, Sam, let's save that. What else you got?
We do have an obituary, but we got more before it. AC/DC singer risks deafness and halts the tour. You want to talk about a band that has been cursed as of late? Nobody more so than AC/DC. Phil Rudd went through some personal battles, and then the judge hosed him. If I was him, I would.
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that Hulk Hogan got 115 million?
Yes, I did. He got 115 million dollars for a sex tape that was taken against his will, which is good because Gawker invaded his privacy. New York, Australian rock elders AC/DC postponed the remaining dates on their U.S. tour after singer Brian Johnson was warned that he risked total deafness. He's been advised to doctors to stop touring immediately or risk death. So, I mean, that's awful news considering that you got to remember Malcolm Young, one of the founders, has dementia. His brain is literally depleting as we speak. Now you've got deafness here. Phil Rudd having personal issues. If you haven't seen AC/DC, the writing might be on the wall here. If they do like a farewell thing, you might want to get to it. Very, very bad news. We've got Madonna more insane than ever. Remember, like in the '80s, if you could have predicted what kind of a nasty bitch she would become, nobody would have ever supported her. Basically, Madonna has she's using her she's trying to say that her husband all but kidnapped Madonna, which is hilarious. But a fat woman sitting on a man's face, the obscene picture Madonna posted just hours after the London judge orders her and Guy Ritchie to settle differences over their son's life. So basically, the judge stayed out of her business. She's always saying, that women don't get a fair shake, this, that, or the other. She wanted this judge to absolutely hose Guy Ritchie because Guy hasn't done anything wrong. The son does not want to stay with Madonna, and she's now trying to push it on from a court. She is so arrogant and self-righteous that even her own family doesn't want to be around her.
I don't know.
And closing down from the
Like
Kabbalah
urge and
from the Kabbalah which we switch. Mirror.co.uk. The guy that invented email, DLAKE. Email's inventor, Ray Tomlinson, dead at the age of 74.
oh Jesus, Sam.
Yeah, it's true. The computing legend who invented email was dead at the age of 74. He is the godfather of email. Ray Tomlinson died following a suspected heart attack, reports the Sydney Morning Herald. Yesterday, at the time this was done. Tomlinson was part of a team of computer programmers at research design company Bolt Beranek and Newman. It's now BBN Technologies. In 1971, that was 2 years before yours truly was even a glimmer in his daddy's eye, he developed an application that allowed messages to be sent back and forth on the computer. And he used the @
known as email.
The
He
user
trademarked the ampersand.
Yeah. In an interview with NPR in 2009, he said the keyboards were about 10 feet apart. I could wheel my chair from one to the other and type a message on one and then go to the other and then see what I had tried to send. By the 1990s,
That's awesome.
email had become a pillar of the internet, of course. He was introduced into the Internet Hall of Fame in 2012. I can imagine he was. His official biography in the Internet Hall website praises him for fundamentally changing the way in which people communicate, which is true.
You know, I never thought about it this way, Sam. But the way that you were describing how Tomlinson was going back and forth between like two chairs 10 feet apart, sliding his probably rolling chair back and forth, sending a message, getting the message. I mean, those sound like two like sort of teleport stations. Like this in a way was teleportation of data, a data transfer teleported from one computer device to another through a data stream. This guy invented email. Ray Tomlinson, now he's passed away. May he rest in peace. I mean, every time you type an ampersand to send an email at Gmail or at Yahoo or at Hotmail or at wherever, or these systems set it up, or Ymail or Yahoo, I mean, this is the guy you have to thank for that teleportation of data technique known as sending an email.
Email is the
Was
most
he instrumental in text messaging? I don't know. But
email is the most popular form of communication. Over 1.5 billion users spanning the globe across the country.
you can't do anything without an email nowadays. Email is like a driver's license. And what can you do on the internet without an email address, right?
Write letters, I guess, like the old days. I used to write letters before email.
On the internet. Write letters. We still have homing pigeons. We still have the flying pigeon messengers. No, but I mean, on the internet, what can you do? You can't sign up for anything or get involved or get an app or use your phone or anything without an email address. Isn't that right?
Well, it's
Pretty.
Okay, Ann, why don't you do me a favor and go try to rent a Redbox movie for cash tonight?
Hey, I'll tell you what, D-Lake, if the fly was teleportation, then perhaps Tomlinson was the flea.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Sam, good one.
But yeah, I figured that was quite an interesting story there. The man, the myth, the legend. Annmarie, what do you have for entertainment?
Oh, me? Oh gosh, let's see. I saw that in the news that Michael Jackson. Did you see that Michael Jackson, his estate has sold his rights to the Sony catalog? That's like huge.
Oh, all the Beatles songs and everything? No way.
Well, Michael Jackson, he really was a great person. If you like, basically.
But to my knowledge, he collected like all the Beatles old music in his collection.
Yeah, that's in his catalog. A lot of songs from the Beatles catalog are in his the Sony catalog, and he had a following.
There's that crap in every commercial now.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like if you go back to Dick Clark was like a horrible person, just a horrible, horrible person. People think that he was so sweet and so nice, and he had like youthful looks and everything, and basically,
I didn't know that. What's that one?
oh yeah,
Sam,
it's
I didn't mean to cut you off, Anna, because we were waiting for Sam to come in. Sam is real big on music. He knows about the Michael Jackson, the Sony, the stuff. And keep going with the catalog, and then Sam, jump in where you feel.
No, what did Mark do? I got sidetracked.
Dick Clark?
Oh, okay. Well, Dick Clark, this is really important. Dick Clark, in order to be on his show, American Bandstand, you had to sign away all your rights to your own songs. So Little Richard has always hated Dick Clark because Dick Clark really screwed over, and not only, just think about this, African Americans in this country were screwed over royal. A lot of musicians were screwed over royal because when you first sign a contract, in order to get some exposure, you have to sign away your rights. So Dick Clark had American Bandstand. In order to get on his show, let's use, for example, Little Richard. Little Richard had to sign away the rights to his own songs that he wrote and played and sang in order to be on his show. And then he had to sign them, like, it's just horrible. So anyway, years later, Michael Jackson was fearing that he didn't want to be like an African American musician who is left penniless. So he actually went to seek some advice from this man who owned, I forgot his name, but he owned like a publishing company. And he told Michael Jackson, if you want to invest your money, invest it in a music catalog and start buying publishing rights. And that's exactly what he did. He heard, now Paul McCartney, there's like a misinformation out there because he did befriend Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney was rich. He's still rich. But he could have, and even Yoko Ono, they could have bought the rights to these songs, but they didn't want to pay that high. And Michael Jackson did buy these rights in the catalog, and it was like 40 or $50 million at the time. And now they sold it for like 700 something million. But this is the thing. When Michael Jackson got this,
I mean, even in the photos that I have on my screen share, and Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney were working together at one time. They did that one song. You remember? There's the picture from the video.
Yeah, and people like to say, and it's misinformation. They like to say that they had like a feud or something, and that he bought it. No. I mean, Paul McCartney could have done it too. He had lawyers. He could have sent someone to buy these things. Everyone knew this catalog was up for sale with the song.
Are you trying to say that Michael Jackson was a smart businessman?
Oh, this was definitely smart. I mean,
I think his hat right here on the screen share, I think it says "Make America Great Again," but it's hard to read.
Well, this is I want to talk about Michael Jackson. I'm getting feedback on my computer. Sorry. When Michael Jackson got the catalog, the first thing he did was give Little Richard back his rights to his own songs. I mean, isn't that really nice? And then I think he also did it for Sly and the Family Stone, the lead singer of Sly and the Family Stone. I think he also gave him back his rights to some of those songs because he felt it was the right thing to do. Now, he had a falling out with Sony. Now, Michael Jackson had a great relationship with Sony, but then when Tommy Mottola, who is like evil, took over Sony, he had a huge falling out. And he didn't promote Michael Jackson's album, like Invincible, and and also before that, like it was just like a horrible thing. And there's a video on YouTube of Michael Jackson talking about Mariah Carey coming to Michael Jackson, crying and shivering.
Tommy Mottola's wife.
at the time, well, this maybe ex-wife at the time, coming to Michael Jackson saying he's an evil, evil man, be careful of him, and she was shaking and crying. And she was warning Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson talks about this in a video. But anyway, now Tommy Mottola is not part of Sony, but they bought, like, they basically were like 50-50 on the catalog. You know, so they've always wanted the rest of the songs. And Michael Jackson.
This is a freaky picture. Al Sharpton and Michael Jackson. When I put in Tommy Mottola, Michael Jackson. There's Tommy Mottola, Michael Jackson. Al Sharpton, Michael Jackson. You recognize the phase that he was going through there. Go Back to Hell. I mean, Tommy Mottola. There's the song. Tommy Mottola. No friend of mine.
Hola.
Wow, this is crazy entertainment news, and just keep it going. I'm just bringing stuff up as you're saying it. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt there.
Oh, that's okay. I just think that Michael Jackson is a really good person, and in the music industry, like, you know, in college I had to take a music history class, and my professor went on and on about how people were screwed over, especially African Americans, and even if you weren't an African American, they stole basically your rights to your music, and you would sign it over willingly. But I just think that was such a great thing that Michael Jackson, the first thing he did was give Little Richard back his song rights, and Dick Clark. I mean, like,
yeah, it seems like he gave all the black artists their music back, but not the other artists.
Well, I mean, Paul McCartney could have. He's rich. He could have bought some of those, you know, songs if he wanted to. I mean,
so it was an income inequality issue.
Exactly. I mean, Little Richard. I mean, he had to keep touring and touring and touring. It's terrible.
Yeah, Little Richard is a great musical artist. That seems like he's been screwed all along. James Brown and all that stuff. But like,
yeah.
When I put in Michael Jackson versus Sony, I mean, look at all this. Sony kills music. Sony sucks. This is Michael Jackson holding up protest signs. Sony is phony. Michael Jackson, and I've seen some of the videos. Well, Al Sharpton. I've seen some of the videos that you're talking about where he was calling Sony out and saying how kind of fake and phony and how they manipulated their money and how they controlled their artists and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they wouldn't promote him. They wouldn't promote him. I mean, you know, it's just awful. It's just, there's so much more. It's just so awful. But yeah, so now they sold this. I don't know if he's turning in his grave. I don't know if this is a good thing, because Michael Jackson.
The family after his passing, Michael Jackson, may he rest in peace. Sam, that, you know, we weren't doing the show when Sam was doing his obituaries, but I'm sure that would have been a classic when Michael Jackson passed away. But Sam.
Yes.
No, I just remember the day that Michael Jackson passed away. There was people driving all around my neighborhood blasting Michael Jackson songs like out of their vehicles and stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, I worked that day, and it was a shock because I don't think anybody expected that. I was worried it was a suicide because I knew his new album was doing badly. I didn't know why until today, but I thought it might have been suicide was what I was thinking about.
I'm sure he's still one of the top leading post-humorous artists as far as money is concerned. But then that brings up his estate, and what Ann's just been talking about all this time is like the estate. Now they're talking about moving the Sony catalog. Like, who's going to get it? It's going back to Sony?
It's all back to Sony. Yeah, they sold it. They sold the rest of. Like, they basically were like 50-50. Sony had 50, and Jackson had the other 50, and they sold it back for like 700 something million.
Man.
So, but except for Michael's songs, he gets to continue his own rights to his own songs.
Did you see just a couple weeks ago after the Grammys, hosted by LL Cool J, that Paul McCartney couldn't get into the after party of some like young new rapper guy. I forgot who it was, but he's like, you're the old school Paul McCartney. We don't want you at our party anymore. And he's like, dude, I guess we got to make some more songs. You saw that, Ann?
Yeah,
Did you see that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
it's disgusting.
Wasn't he with that?
Yeah, we talked about it, right? He didn't get into the party. All right, well, okay. It's time for my entertainment news then. Here's my entertainment news on my screen share. The Captain America Civil War movie is coming out this month in just a week or two. Right. Not only does it feature Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, The Vision, Scarlet Witch, Ant-Man, we're introducing the Black Panther. General Ross is back. There's so many characters, and also including Peter Parker, a.k.a. Spider-Man. And I have a picture for you here. I just have the picture. I don't want to play the video clip and get this video banned on YouTube. But in the new Civil War trailer, Iron Man, Tony Stark is like, Underoos! You remember Underoos? Then Spider-Man swings in, spins down a web, pulls Captain America's shield away from him, then spins another web to tie Captain America's hands together. Then he lands on top of this truck with Captain America's shield. Then his eyes seem sort of mechanical, like a camera, because they sort of focus in when he's like, hey, everyone. But he's like a young guy. They got a young actor. Spider-Man's going to be kind of a little bit more like a kid, but very adept in swinging around on webs and climbing walls and doing spider agility type stuff. And how do you feel about this new costume, man? How do you feel about this new look of Spider-Man? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Why not, right? It looks pretty classic. It looks pretty good. Sam, how do you feel about this first look at the new Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, I've always, out of all of these superheroes, was my least favorite because with his outfit on it, he didn't be able to climb. Always been my least favorite.
I'm sure they worked out something appropriate with the new costume. Look, Sam, he's Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man. He does whatever a spider can. He spins a web and he sighs, and then he catches the thieves just like flies. So look out. Here comes the Spider-Man.
I don't know. Maybe cat here, TL. I don't know.
You named your cat Spider-Man? What?
What do you think, T?
That's a pretty cat.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all the other characters, especially White Witch.
The White Witch? The Scarlet Witch?
Scarlet Witch. I'm thinking of the movie White Witch. Yes,
she's going to be using her powers on the Vision. In the comic books, they eventually get married. A witch marries an android. I don't know. It's crazy. It's so crazy. How are they going to do it in the movie? I don't know. I think it's been a great show. Everyone, thank you for joining us today. We've had viewers popping in and out the whole time. It's been pretty exciting. A lot of stuff, a lot of issues we talked about. Today's show, Trump protesters blocking traffic, Kasich getting money from Soros, Sam's amazing science news, our entertainment news, and bringing up all kinds of new stuff. And we're still working out our rhythm now that we have Ann on the show, which I think is a bonus to the show. Sam, how do you feel about it?
Huge help to the show. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we put out the casting call, and, it's kind of like the Avengers. They're like, hey, we need someone new. They get Spider-Man. We're like, hey, what's up? Then we get Annmarie. So, we're just trying to build the team. I'm kind of like Nick Fury. I'm like, look, it's called the Avengers Initiative. If you want to be a part of it with your superpowers, that'd be great. And so I think it's really working out. I mean, well, I'm kind of a little bit more like Captain America, but where's my shield? Anyways, everybody, I think it's been a great show. And Sam, tell everyone where they can find you.
YouTube.com/correctviews. You can also get a hold of me at thecorrectviews@hotmail.com. We are in Tongue. And Make sure you find us, like us, and share us. That helps them a lot. And subscribe. That's also another big help. Makes us come up higher on searching.
Yeah, go check out Sam on youtube.com/thecorrectviews. Check out DLAKE for Prez at youtube.com. I'm just David Lake. Look for the Captain America shield. And also, you can find Annmarie on themediaspeaks.com's most latest issues. I think I made a playlist, the new TMS featuring Annmarie. I think it's pretty great. Everyone check that out. And look forward to next week's show where it's going to be much better. I mean, it always is. We got to get some of these microphone issues worked out and our flow. But I have a feeling that it's getting better and better. I feel like our overall flow, I'm like Donald Trump, I'm like, the flow is getting better. We got to take the lumps out, like his dad used to say. Anyways, everyone, thanks for joining us today. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
More juice.